ReefDudes is sponsored by Ecotech Marine and Bulk Reef Supply.
Today we're getting a long overdue update on the Aquaforest All-in-Skim. What's going on, guys? Devin from ReefDudes. Now, I've been running the kind of prototype version of Aquaforest All-in-Skim for a few months now. I'm getting a ton of people asking me, how's it going? How am I liking it? So today's the day we're gonna get to it. So let's take a look. Now, to get to my cabin, I gotta lift up my desk to open the doors. And you can see this baby is skimming some dark, nasty skimming. And this thing's basically at the brim, so I am overdue to empty this, as you can tell. It actually does come with a float switch. If that was in there, it would have turned off the skimmer at this point because it's so full, because it's probably right at the brim or just shy of it. So definitely, once this is done filming, I'm going to empty that. You can see my lovely tape on here. So I know with revision 2, they did put a nice thick O-ring, so it does keep these on. I just put a little bit of tape on it just to keep it on there. Because, big thing, if it's open, you can hear that. When it's closed, you can't hear it. So it makes it extremely silent just by making sure those lids are super closed. So of course, you know, the actual production version has big O-rings on there and it will keep it nice and tight. But yeah, definitely skims like a champ. Super dark, super nasty. And this soda line system works extremely well. My pH on this tank has been extremely solid. I don't think I've changed the media in this about 2 months. And you can see there's lots of purple in there. It's definitely a good chunk used up, but it's keeping my tank, you know, 8.08 to 8.26 pH range. And this is after 2 months of media. So the recirculating media lasts a long time, surprisingly, and it definitely does a good job of keeping the pH in the happy range. Now, putting the extra soda lime pellets on top, it probably does help actually, because you see they're starting to tinge purple. So it probably does make a big difference for pH. You know, generally you're supposed to use carbon on top, which might actually be better to remove out some of like the dissolved organic compounds from kind of recirculating through it. Hard to say on that one. Maybe once I clean this out, I'll put carbon in for next round and see if there's any difference, but that one's gonna be a little bit harder to test for. So another big thing on this one too, you know, we have lots of media in the bottom of this. So, you know, in theory, that's going to help out for, you know, denitrifying bacteria, all that jazz living in the bottom of it. Again, that's something harder to test and quantify for, but it's really cool that it's in there, especially if you have space for a proper media reactor. Yeah, she's definitely up at the brim. But yeah, this thing is, you know, once the lids are on nice and tight, it is ultra quiet, which I love. It's fully adjustable, so you don't DC motor. It takes next to nothing for power, so extremely efficient, extremely quiet, and with these little add-on little Octopussy adapters, it does a wonder for pH, which is magical. You know, and if you're actually running carbon in this, or if you're running all the media in the bottom, you know, in theory, it's also helping with their denitrification, you know, helping the bacteria cultures in the tank. Again, it's harder for me to quantify that and say 100%, but, you know, logically, in theory, that all makes sense. But yeah, super duper cool skimmer, and yeah, so I had a lot of people asking me for an update on it, so hopefully this, you know, fills you in. You know, definitely really impressed with how well it skims. You know, that's the main purpose of a skimmer. It skims extremely well. You know, second byproduct, it is boosting my pH way up there, which is magical, and keeps all the corals happy. And back to clean and shiny again. So emptied up that extremely full cup. It definitely does skim like a champ, so we'll be back to all the nasty skimming as that bubble tower builds back up. Pretty darn quick, to be honest. Probably should change the soda lime pellets, but it's still keeping the pH in a happy range, so we'll let it suck up a bit more. And yeah, she's back in business. Don't know the actual release date, but I know it's pretty dang soon. You know, don't worry. The final one has nice little O-rings, so you don't have to worry about my very classy tape. But yeah, super duper cool skimmer, very unique, novel design, you know, with the media reactor basically inside of it. The soda lime canisters on top, super duper cool. And again, the top one's normally supposed to be for carbon, but I just decided to try soda lime pellets in it. And yeah, it's worked really well for pH. So yeah, be sure to keep an eye out for this guy because he'll be on the market soon. As always, if you enjoyed it, hit that like button. If you're new, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next update.